All right, welcome flows. Let's talk about welcome flows that make tons of money. Here's one that made almost 100 or $200,000 per month when we launched it, and that was from just a couple months ago. So, how to build a welcome flow that doubles your customer acquisition rate, giving you the best possible chance at getting new visitors to make their first purchase right away, making every future order easier and easier, which is the crucial part. So that's without spending extra money on ads. It's without doing any manual work or relying on guesswork. So if you set this up right, it'll do a lot for you. And most brands are super lazy with their welcome flow. So if you do it right, the market's open for you. And you're going to do it right because I'm going to show you how to do it right. Here's one that made 93,000 a month, 118,000 a month, 99,000 a month. So this strategy is super repeatable. Let's go into a welcome flow, what that is. So it's the first email automation that triggers when people sign up to your email list without making a purchase. So they might sign up through a form on your site, a pop-up, or by abandoning the checkout process after leaving their email. So why a welcome flow? Your welcome flow contains the emails with the highest likelihood of converting new members of your email list at the moment they're most likely to buy, which is why it's insane that most brands get lazy with this because it's your most important flow. So otherwise, you're hoping that they'll wander into making a purchase on their own. So you're relying on their effort, which is a bad idea, or that you happen to manually send an email yourself, which is relying on your effort, which is also a bad idea at just the right time. So your welcome flow accomplishes all of this without relying on luck or anyone's effort at all. You just set this up once, which is obviously takes effort, but it's not manual effort each time is the point. So most brands either have no welcome flow set up or they have the basic one from a default template that just delivers the welcome offer. So this is what most brands are doing, and this is what you're going to do when I explain how to do this. If you do this right, you will beat your competitors. There's just no situation where you don't. Where you're doing all this and they're doing this, there's no way that you don't outperform them. So I've never seen a client who went from this to this who didn't substantially increase their first customer acquisition rate. This just works every time. Okay, so let's start with the top of funnel welcome offer. So what is that? So that's what they sign up for, right? So maybe your pop-up has a 10% off welcome offer. And here are some tips for generating as much revenue as possible with this first top of funnel email. So something like as requested or as promised in your subject line. Deliver what they came for high up in the email. So get to it right away. Don't say a bunch of random stuff about your brand or have introductions. Just give them exactly what they came for at the top. And then you can talk about other stuff that you want down later into the email. Have a CTA high up at the top. So assume that they only open the email and see this much. Assume that they're not going to scroll. Give them something to click on right away. Have the URL linked in your email. Automatically apply the discount code. So don't make them copy and paste the discount code. So have this link here automatically have the discount code applied. So a short brand intro of reminding them of why they're here, plus another CTA that's in your body, a social proof, plus a final CTA. So I'm not gonna do like breakdowns. I just have examples here to show you, so you can kind of pause and take screenshots if you want to keep these for inspiration. But here's just an example of what I'm talking about, and we're gonna move on to your second email, which is social proof plus your welcome offer. So now if they don't buy off that first email, the next day we're going to follow up with some social proof. So here's an example of that. Here's another example of that. So social proof doesn't always have to be reviews. Here's an example of a UGC video that a customer sent in. If you're not getting UGC videos from your customers, set up a UGC flow asking them for content in exchange for a partial refund on their last order, which is exactly how we retrieved this video from real customers. So these weren't like paid UGC. These were like real customer UGCs. Okay, so another follow-up we're going to do are the best sellers plus a welcome offer. So this one is a single product store. So it's a little bit weird. So that the best seller is obviously the main thing. So we're just making it super clear. This is what you're looking for. Risk reversal plus welcome offer. So taking away any perceived risk they have. Like pretty much every store has some kind of a refund guarantee. So we're just going to state that because if the perceived risk is what's preventing them from making their first purchase, you just want to get that out of the way. And then we want to repurpose high performing campaigns into welcome email or into welcome offer emails. So if you've been sending campaigns, you have an advantage here. Now you can just sort by all the campaigns that have performed the best and just convert those into welcome emails. So here's an example of one of those. Here's another example of one of those. Here's another example of just high performing, strong emails for this brand. And then bottom of funnel welcome offer. So if you remember, your top of funnel welcome offer doesn't expire. They can get that whenever they want. We're going to follow up multiple days trying to get them to use it. This bottom of funnel welcome offer is going to have urgency because it does expire. And something that works really well for this is a very scrappy looking email that looks like it's a personal letter from the founder. We've tested everything. This works the best. So something that looks like a founder can quickly spin up, so don't have a ton of design in there. Give them the code and then say like, so normally it's a 10% discount. Today only, we're upgrading you to 15%. Here's your code. Here's the button. And obviously the button also auto applies the code. So we're not actually making them copy and paste. So just imagine that little extra satisfaction they get from going to checkout and seeing that the code is already there, even if they were expecting to have to copy and paste it. And it just removes that extra friction, getting you those few extra conversions that are going to add up in aggregate as you scale. So that's your structure. So some bonus tips and tricks. Have a welcome banner on other flows and campaigns. So say they go through your welcome flow and don't purchase, you want to keep reminding them that they're still able to use that welcome offer. So if you are sending a cart abandoned flow anyway, remind them that they can get 10% off their cart because they still haven't made a first purchase yet. If you're sending them campaigns anyway, have a banner at the top reminding them that they still haven't used their welcome offer yet, what the code is, and a button that auto applies that code. So this converts every other email you send into a welcome email easily, just by having that banner. If they don't open email number 1, so this top of funnel email, if they don't open this right away, resend it within 1 to 4 hours later. So segment the flow to non-openers and then have email number 1 send again so that they're not waiting 24 hours to get email number 2. So market research, this is crucial. So figure out what the majority of your first customers are buying, how much they're spending, and create your welcome emails accordingly. So your results will be much better when you increase an existing validated behavior. So if you look at how customers are already behaving and trying to get more of that behavior versus attempting to create a new unvalidated behavior. So a lot of brands, they'll be like, oh, all of our customers are buying this, but we want them to buy this. Let's try to like maneuver something to get them to buy this. Stop doing that. Just look at what they're already doing and try to get them to do that. Try to get them to do that, maybe a little bit more than that, but don't try to get them to do something completely different. Voice of customer research. So Lurk, forums, subreddits, YouTube comments, Facebook groups, all the other places your market hangs out. Figure out what they complain about, what their problems are, what objections they have, what products they've tried in the past, and use this in your email copy. So the idea here, if you show that you understand their problems and communicate it exactly how they would, or maybe even better than they would, you present yourself as one of them. And they'll trust you more than other brands using just kind of like these generic corporate speak marketing kind of talk. So that's super important. Phrase things in ways that your customers actually speak. Don't sound like a brand. Don't sound like a company. When you send a banger campaign, repurpose it into a welcome flow email and test it against your worst performing welcome flow emails. So say we set up this flow and then for whatever reason, this email is kind of like the worst performing email in the entire welcome flow, but then we just sent a campaign that day that did extremely well. We want to test that campaign versus this welcome flow email. And then if that second email outperforms this one, we will cut this email from the flow and then introduce that new email as its replacement. So what this is doing is obviously it's improving your results iteratively over time. And this also allows you to have an ever-evolving welcome flow that increases in performance without a ton of extra work, right? Because you're sending that campaign anyway. And if it's going to outperform one of your welcome flow emails, it's super easy to just like swap that out. So now you're having an ever-evolving asset of your most important flow. So how do you want to build this? So use Google Docs to write your welcome flow email copy. Use Figma to design your welcome flow emails. That's to bring it to life. So all of these email designs were made on Figma. and then use Klaviyo to set up and launch your welcome flow. If you're making over $100,000 a month, I can set this up for you. So book a call with me at realwaymarketing.com or tap the link in the description. Like the video, subscribe for more, and comment if you have requests for future email marketing guides or anything that I mentioned in this guide that you want me to go into deeper. If you want me to make an entire video just on how to write copy and how to design an email like this, we can probably do that as well. But if you're at $100,000 a month, I can do this all for you. This is going to be a waste of your time. So it's going to be a waste of your time to do it yourself. So book a call with me and then we'll get that handled.